Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Reality Roundup. We will be talking about season or episode 9 of this season of the challenge. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, especially comment to help a to help a not struggling upcoming
Up
Black
and
people
coming.
podcast, up and coming Black people podcast. How are you, friend?
I'm doing well, Maddie. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Um, okay, let's get started.
Excellent. What'd you think of the episode? What were your thoughts?
I really liked this episode.
Same. This is the shakeup I've been waiting for since like week three.
This
Like,
is this is exactly well, I mean, the preview of next week says that there's gonna be more, but
oh, this is the
um
midpoint, so that was like the mid-season like
yeah.
trailer. I am disappointed that I mean, we'll talk about it, but I am disappointed that we're going to be going to an individual game. I really, really wish that even
Mhm.
if it meant having like a larger cast and having each team start with like, 20 people or something like that, like which would probably be the largest cast ever. But it's like it's season 40, it's the largest season ever, right? It's
Yeah.
it's 20 some years. Yeah, 98. Am I tripping?
I think TJ said
It's
24
20. It's
years.
yeah. I think no. I think like the first challenge was in 98. So you're talking like 26, 24 to
Yeah.
26 years of history. Let's call it 25 years. But when they were filming, like that's perfect to make it like huge. Because I would have loved to see like teams running in the end. Um,
I always thought we were going to get to an individual. I'm wondering if they were always going to pull this trigger, but they had to pull it earlier than they thought they would because of
no,
Rachel.
I think it's number. Because we've been releasing the same number of men and women each time. So
Hmm.
I think it's just number. I think they would have been fine annihilating an entire era.
The word annihilating is like is very aggressive, but is basically what happened to Era One, so that's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah. Like,
I think we're down to 20 people
so sorry.
total. You're fine.
Let
I
me
think
check.
I think that's what TJ said at
Yeah,
the
that makes
beginning.
sense, right? Because we started with 40.
Hmm. It just so happens that Era One obviously lost the most people, so it looks crazy.
Well, I don't know actually. So Era One lost 9, and then Era Two lost 3, so that's 12. Era Four has lost with Casey gone 4, so that's 16. And Era, they only have 4, so they lost 6. So we're under 20. We're down to 18, if my math is correct.
I just swore that TJ said at the beginning of the challenge that we're down to 20.
At the beginning, well, yeah, there would have been 20 because Casey and them were still there, and
Oh,
Devin was still there.
yes, we're yes,
Oh
at the
yeah.
end of the episode verse. I'm talking about the
Oh,
beginning of
okay.
the episode.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think this was always what was meant to happen, and I think that's kind of I do think like it wasn't predictable that like one era would just continuously go in. I feel like it was kind of predictable, but like I think like if you're creating these teams and you're the people in the back, like the producers, you're probably aligning them for the strengths and stuff, and you're like, oh, like these are all well equalized teams.
Hmm.
But you were wrong.
I just like it felt like Era One, not to do like a whole mid-season recap, but it just felt like Era One just never caught a break, and
I
they
mean,
were.
they lost. You don't
I
get no
know,
breaks when you lose. Like, you get a break if you come in second or third, right? And, like, they would have
yeah.
caught more breaks if they came in, like, third more frequently, but they literally came in fourth place,
Oh, my family. I'm
like,
so
4 or 5
sorry.
challenges in a row. Like,
CT,
um,
I miss you. I miss you,
I
CT.
do miss you, CT. I think we would have been having more fun if you were still here. I miss my girl, Jody. She didn't even get a chance. That was crazy.
Oh, she did not get a chance.
Yeah.
No. I even miss
Um,
Miss Flower from Era 2.
oh, Emily.
Hmm.
Big M, not the little one. Who sent her home?
Ooh, I can't remember.
Tina. And that was
Oh, and now I miss Tina. I miss Mama Tina.
Okay, let's talk about the episode. I think like what we're setting up in that little like segment before we get to the challenge
Hmm.
is the Vacation Alliance, and we see Era One and Era Two getting their plans together, and you're just kind of hoping that it sticks, or you're really just hoping Era One doesn't lose.
That was me. I was like, please, Rachel, don't do this.
Oh, let's just talk about the challenge. The challenge was
Okay.
called Bottoms Out. Do you have rules? You
Which
want me to get it?
was so funny to me. Yes, I can do the roles. Um, I as soon as I started laughing is when they did like the whole when Ryan was like,
Mhm.
ah, I was like, oh, I love this. Okay, so the rules were basically that you had to your era had to solve as many of like 24 equations or something like that.
27.
27 equations as you why 27? Anyway.
The alphabet
Um,
plus a hashtag.
Oh, thank you. So I was like, what? So you had to, but they were like rotating all at once for everybody. And so you had to solve them on this little board. I don't
Yeah.
know why they had those numbers. They should have just given you some chalk, but it's fine. And then based on how many answers you got right, that's how many handholds you got
For your team.
for your team. And so theoretically, like if you like one person could have four handholds, like you could be like, like spread eagle. I don't think anybody really got to have four
Rachel
per
got
person.
6, and this is why I was confused because
Oh yeah, she does. Yeah.
it to me it seemed like she went with for some reason 4 on the bottom and 2 up top because she had her feet on 2 and she was just holding on to one. That's what I thought it looked like in the episode. But
I
if
thought
that
it
was
was either
me,
two or like it was some sort of triangle.
well, like yeah, if that was me, I would have probably put 3 up top, like so I can like move into different like
But
to move my
that was my
trunk.
question for you. Could you move around to different handholds?
Yes. Well, that okay, that's something that I'm not clear about when other teams were dropping off. But what I was going to say is it seemed like there were just prescribed holds like in the how do you say
Container?
the container and for that reason moving was more dangerous than just kind of staying put and like dealing with the pain. But that's why I'm talking about Rachel specifically
Mhm.
because she got a choice. I mean, you have 6 and they're all gonna can be used by you. You had a choice of where to place them. Like I would have placed them so that I could like easily move my feet and my hands and stuff in different
I see what you mean. Yes.
into like different orientations if I needed like rest or whatever. I mean, it didn't matter for her, but to your point, with the other eras, it seems like it's like people were falling off, especially era 4, who notably each person only got 2 handholds
Hmm.
to begin. As people were falling off, they weren't doing anything to try to readjust, and it just to me it just looked like everything was too far apart. And I,
Stupid question
mhm.
with the handhold. Are we literally saying handholds? Like you get two for your hands, or is it two like you get one, like one
No,
for
no,
your foot,
no.
one for your
They
hand?
got 14 holds, period. So that
Hmm.
was 2 per person, and they basically just went one up top, one on the bottom, one for your hands, both hands, and one for your feet.
Okay. Yes.
But it
Okay.
didn't seem like any of them were like close enough together that like, let's say Theo's next to me, he falls off. Now I can just use his hand hold for myself to give myself more leverage to stay
Yeah.
upright.
Rachel. Oh, Rachel just.
See,
Mwah.
this is where I needed the time. Like me as the audience, when she
Hmm.
falls, I needed to know what her time was, and then like everybody, you could have shown us the whole leaderboard, and then maybe just not shown us era 2 because it looked who were last to go because it looked like
Hmm.
Nehemiah was her only real challenge, and then that way when TJ is going in and saying, you know. Who's gonna win? I know for a fact Rachel is in last place if I'm the audience, and then I was just like, okay, did she actually come in first or
Hmm.
whatever? Because
Yeah, that kind of
this is
annoyed
one of those
me.
things real funny. You know, it's real easy and these are like the perfect challenges like historically that we would have that for. We would get the time and as people hit the water, it would it would show us their specific time that they completed the um
Yeah.
that they lasted in the challenge. And I
I
just
hope.
love heights over water challenges anyway. So it's so good to have that back. I wish we get some more later on.
I was
I love
Kara
heights
in this
over water and
moment.
I love like mini finals, like long distance um I don't even like fool with this anymore.
That was very funny. I was Kara during when she was just like, oh, like with the heights over challenge in the math. I was
Hmm.
like valid. I was like,
Yeah,
Kara, yes.
this was all of her weakness.
All of her weaknesses all at once. The shipping container frightened me at some point because I feel like it was obviously secure. Yes, yes, yes. But it felt like it was like swaying a little bit, like
Probably.
due the nature of physics. And like that would freak me out. Like if I
Yeah.
was
I mean, you're
inside of
not gonna
it.
die from it swaying, but like, yeah, it probably was swaying in the wind
Yeah. Like
because it
having
was
to hold
hanging.
on while it's swaying. No, thank you.
Yeah, that's like being at the top of a very tall building. Like it's secured, but like you're still gonna feel the breeze.
And that's why that's my fear.
Um,
Oh, I had a question for you. My
yeah.
first ever question for you. What would be your math strategy in this
That
situation?
math was easy. I do think I just think like I'm good at math, but so like I'm never like I'm never like looking at those things being like, oh my god, adding numbers, what will I do? I just
Which
think
I
that
think is what Laurel said in
yeah,
confessional.
like and her team won
Yeah.
because she was on the math, right? It was just whoever was going to
Mhm.
be the best at math. I do think though, like what because when I was watching like Kylan, I would have been so frustrated if I was him because your whole team is basically going, "You're the math person, you're going to save us," but they won't shut up and just let you do the math. They're like screaming out other equations, and when you're trying to do mental math, like
Mhm.
like and Josh is just in the corner going 66 plus 22, 66 plus 22, and he's not even attempting to solve the problem. He's just repeating the problem over and over again. Like
That was so funny to me. That was so funny to me. Oh
like
my.
I
Oh,
was
that's
like
why they didn't give him chalk.
I was like, Josh, I know you're trying to be helpful, but like this man is like he's trying to and like Kylan is like trying to solve whatever math problem he's
Yeah.
looking at the point, and Josh is just like, hey, this letter is this equation. Just remember, and I'm just like, bro, keep that like repeat it in your mind quietly, and then when there's a lull in like his progress, you can be like, oh, by the way, this one was, did you get it? And let him solve it then. I think that would have been
Yeah.
the most frustrating part is like trying to do it. But I was solving the math problems. I didn't pause the video or anything. I was solving a lot of them like on screen as they were going. There were like a few. Most of them were like really easy. Most of them were really easy.
Okay, Laurel.
I was gonna shoot them some bail and be like, oh, maybe not, like the stress and the in the competition, which probably does make it harder to
Mhm.
think. But like some of them, like one of the equations was like it was like 40 something plus 49 plus 1. Well, 49 plus 1 is 50. And so
50.
you're just like that's a super and it was like another 40. So you like it was super easy. A
Mhm.
lot of the three like, there were two 3-digit math problems that I saw. One of them was like super easy 707, which they all got was like 505 plus 202 707. That's easy like mental math.
Mhm.
And the other one was like 123 plus like 340 something. Like I will say the 3-digit like addition problems that I solved, they could all be solved from left to right. Like in my head, I just solved them from left to right like quite quickly. Because it was like you can just add the hundreds place in the tenths place and then the ones
Oh, I was
place.
like, what do you mean solving
Like
by left, right?
meaning
Yes.
that if well anything can be solved from left to right. That's actually how I was taught in calculus is to like do your problems from left to right. Um,
Nothing, I don't know, nothing
well,
about
no,
that.
I mean I was taught that by a physics professor who because
Mhm.
in like high level math courses a lot of times like on exams you have to like show your work,
Mhm.
and if you run out of time, let's say the answer for something is like 7,423 point zero, right, because you'll usually have that. If you're running out of time and you can solve like 7,423.1, and you might lose like half a point for not going out three places after the decimal if that's what the answer
Mhm.
required. But if you went the other way, you're nowhere near the correct answer. Like you might get the last three digits and then the next two digits, and now
Oh, I see what you
you've
mean.
got a
Like
totally
solving
different,
the places.
yeah, you've got a totally
Yes.
different number. So
That's
I
so
will.
interesting.
That's what I did notice is like the ones that were. I don't know if that was intentional, probably, um,
Mhm.
or they probably just looked up like sixth grade math equations and like gave them
And
because it was
everybody
like the
was
square root of
complaining.
81, the square root of 16. I'm like, you don't even have to like have remembered much about square roots from your time in high school to like
Mhm.
figure some of that stuff
Yeah,
out.
because some of them were sight problem, or the way that I was taught is sight problems. Like it's not so much that you memorize like how to do the square root of 36, it's that
Yeah,
you just see visually what it is, and then the answer is only going to be one thing.
like 1 to the 10th. I think that like stuff like that was like placed up there to like shake people up, like if they
Yeah.
don't remember powers. But like if you maintain any modicum like of your eighth and ninth grade, whatever, like
Hmm.
mathematics, geometry, even, like you probably could have done well. I don't know. I don't know. Did they state how much time they had? Oh, it was just the speed
No,
of this. It was just,
the
yeah.
whole thing was just going for
Yeah.
everybody at once.
So
Yeah.
my strategy would have probably, oh, it was, they only went through one time. I thought it was just going for a set number of time.
No, CJ said something along the lines of like we're gonna show every like 20 every problem one time. Like we got
Okay.
27 equations. By the time we reach 27, everybody's
Okay.
done.
Yeah. I
Because it
like
was
I
like
said,
a
like
physical. It wasn't like digital. It was like a physically like turning block.
well, like still, I feel like I probably would have gotten like more than half. Like at a certain point, I would have been like, oh, maybe this is moving too fast. I just went every other one.
Yeah, because every other would give you what, 13, well, 13 and a half if you got them all right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And this is very interesting. I love it. I part of me was thinking like during the math part, like the same way that everybody's always talking about working out and grip strength and all that jazz. Like I feel like maybe you'd want to study math.
You
Like,
definitely do. I mean,
yeah.
it's a standard like feature on the show. Like math and
Yeah.
puzzles, tanagrams. If you're gonna do puzzles, tanagrams, slide puzzles, and like stuff like that. You definitely want to you study that. And we get people talking about that. Like we get CT. We've gotten confessionals from challengers in the past being like, "Oh, I went home last year in the finals and I spent most of my time preparing for this competition by doing tanagram puzzles or Sudoku puzzles on my phone or whatever."
I
Because
love that.
that idea of puzzling shows up a lot. Same thing with math. Like get a little math app or something and just like
Yes.
do like quick problems. You'll be all right.
Oh, I love it. I did say something when Theo fell instantaneously.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, Cal Olaf. And then I did say something moderately problematic in my notes, which is, of course, the lesbians have good grip strength. Of course they do.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes. But I
um,
loved Rachel just like sinking into like a goddess squat and just holding on, just holding
she
on.
kicked
I was
she
like,
kicked butt.
yes,
I need to see the raw footage. 14 minutes because the last time we saw
14
the last
minutes.
time we saw time up for her, I think it was like 5 minutes and some change.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, oh, okay, so this is close. And like you said, like because we didn't do a leaderboard or anything like that, the oh my God. The plot arc of that of the challenge is like we don't know how much Rachel like where, and so at the end when it was like Rachel lasted 14 minutes and nobody
Yeah.
else did, I was like, oh, so she ran away with
Well,
this.
like no, no, no. That's we're saying the opposite things. I
Oh.
don't. I'm saying that like the last time we saw time up for her was like 5 minutes, so it made it seem like she fell in like that maybe like 8 to 10 minute mark, and then the last
Mm-hmm.
time we saw time up for Nehemiah, he was at like 9 minutes and something.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, if there's a full almost 10 minutes of time unaccounted for Rachel. How much
Mm-hmm.
time is there unaccounted for Nehemiah? I just need to see the raw footage, or I need y'all to just tell me the time as the audience. Like maybe you don't tell them, keep them guessing, sure, but like tell us the time as the audience. Put it on the thing after each round. Flash up like, hey, here's error one. Here's the time. Here's who went next. Error four. Here's error four. Here's their time. Here's error three. Here's their time, and then where like we see Nehemiah hit 9 minutes, maybe we see him hit like 13 minutes and we realize he's like close to Rachel. We go to
Mm-hmm.
commercial, we come back and he's falling, and then we go to TJ announcing it. TJ announces it, and then you show me the full spectrum so I see where Nehemiah actually like landed
Sounds like you're
everybody.
ready to be a producer on the
I
challenge.
mean, yes. I was born ready. What are you talking about?
Please call Mariama. Call Mariama
Hit
on the
me up, hit
phone.
me up.
She does actually need a job right now.
Need is a strong word.
She wants a job. She wants a job.
um yeah, what did you think of the like challenge though? What do you think about the other eras? I think we
For what era is Jordan? Three?
Mhm.
Am I? wrong for saying that I feel like there should have been an accommodation for Jordan in this type of
I don't think
challenge?
you are. I don't think you are. But the question would be then how? Because the only thing I can think of is like if you wrap like a rope or something around the hold and then around his wrist. But that also then gives him like a pretty large advantage because he's not
Yeah.
actually relying on grip or forearm strength. It takes all of this stuff out of it.
I
But
feel like
like
he should have gotten a flat, like
I
a
think just give him.
smaller
I think
flat.
what I would say is give him like a bigger one so that he could wrap the entirety of his hand
Oh,
onto it.
yes.
Because if again when you're um when you're squeezing your hands and you're holding onto something for grip, it's not always like your fingers and stuff that's gonna be hurting. It might be like your forearms and your shoulders. So you need to be able to like put pressure on his forearms and shoulders the way the other
Hmm.
contestants are, but
Hmm.
also taken out of the fact that he doesn't have fingers. Like he's missing four fingers on one of his hands. So what all you really want to
Hmm.
give him is enough to like so that it would sit in his palm and he
Yeah.
still kind of has to hold on and his forearms will still be like
Yeah.
under some type of pressure.
It does make me think if there's rock climbing, because there's rock climbing at the able-bodied Olympics. I don't know if there's rock climbing at the Paralympics and what that looks like. I should figure that out. But that was my only, and then my only other thought was like go off rage because I feel like it was fun. The drop scale, like the drop was, I know like heights over water means you have to like be high in the air. But I was like kind of this very irrational fear, maybe not, but I was scared of somebody clipping the edge on their way down and then just like pinwheeling into the water. Like I was like, oh my God, please just fall straight down.
I'll play you a video compilation of some like heights over water injuries
Oh Lord.
from the past.
And then who got DQ? Josh?
Josh got DQ for standing on the iron frame that was actually holding the container.
Oh, I feel like that wasn't clear to me in the moment. Well, I mean, yes, he got DQ'd, but like I was like, what do you mean he was standing on the container? But
Basically, he was like there was like a bar underneath the container,
mhm,
probably for like when they like that gives it a few inches off the ground for like when they
mhm,
lower it or whatever to
mhm.
reset. And his foot was just on that. Like it
Yeah.
just wasn't even on the peg at all. He was just
Go
he
off,
was basically
Josh.
standing on the ledge and holding
Yeah.
on to something. That's what was happening.
I mean, I also really loved how people like said goodbye before
Yeah,
they
I'm
would
out.
fall. They were like, I can't do it. And they just fall. I was like, valid. Absolutely. Somebody apologized, I think, at some point. They were like, I'm so sorry. And then they just felt out. I was like,
Tori.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it.
Give us the results.
Oh dear God. Well, Rach wins, right?
Mhm.
Or Era One wins, with Rachel at 14 minutes. And then fourth place is oh God. Fourth place is four?
Era 3.
Era three lost.
Yeah.
And then two and four were obviously arguing, well, not arguing, but making their case about who wanted to go against Tori and Devin in the sand.
What did you think
But
about what did Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, but for what seems to me, or what was presented to me as a first time watcher, as like the first time ever, there was only one person that you had to like argue with about who goes into the sand.
Yeah, so a few things that were set up with Rachel's win here is that Rachel wins for her era, but she's the last member of her era. So now, for the
Hmm.
first time in this game, because
Mm.
we've had single people make decisions like this prior,
Okay.
but she's the only winner on the day in this game for the first time, because typically it's a male and a female target, and they win the power to vote in. She gets all the power to decide which team. She doesn't have to negotiate it with anyone
Yes.
on her team, so it's entirely her decision. And then also, like the other big implication is that Era 3 and Era 4 have been in this like loose alliance, which did come to a head last week. But I will say the only members of Era 3 that are like truly aligned with Era 4 and vice versa are the people who are part of the Vacation Alliance. And today, Tori and Devin, Vacation Alliance members, are in the bottom. Rachel has to choose either Era 2, which has her challenge bestie of 20 years, Ryan,
Hmm.
up for elimination, or Era 4, which has Casey of the Vacation Alliance, who has literally not spoken to Rachel at all one time this season.
And
That
then
was a
rocked
hard
up on
decision.
her later and was just like, I feel like we've had this
We got an unspoken lesbian bond.
that's literally what it felt like to me. It felt like she was being like, we're lesbians, we should be locked in. And I
Yeah.
was just like, oh, that's it? That's all you have to give her? Is that we're lesbians, we should be locked in?
What did you think? What did you think of Rachel's choice and all the arguments that everybody was making?
Well, I think that I want to say there's some, I think maybe Ryan says this in confessional that he would like understand if like Rachel tries to like go for Laurel, even though it would negatively impact him.
Mhm.
Um, and I think the opposite occurs, kind of, sort of. I think that Laurel gets saved because Rachel likes Ryan so much, and due to the nature of like having the chance, everybody's argument, right? Having the chance to put members of the Vacation Alliance against each
Yeah.
other in weekend
I
3 and 4. So
I
Laurel gets off scot-free for absolutely nothing to do with her.
so I didn't really think about this as Laurel getting off scot free. The Jordan set the antithesis of this, which makes sense. It's a if you're in Jordan's position, it's a logical argument. Hey, I understand you and Ryan are close, but like seriously, think about it. Like Laurel is a dangerous competitor. You have the
Mm,
opportunity to get rid of her, and Ryan will never have power to actually save you in the game. So
yeah.
like you guys might be friends and that's cool and all, but the smart move is to save, Kylan and Casey, who could have power very soon going forward and could actually repay you a favor. That's smart from Jordan's perspective and from like all of Era 3's perspective.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, if you're in a power position, if your team has won half of the challenges and has held power half of the time in the game, like Era 4, like Era 3, that's what you want to go with. Hey, like I know we haven't been working together, but work with me now because I'm probably going to have power soon again at some point in the future when you don't and you
Hmm.
haven't at all this game and I can save you. What I think is the best move for Rachel's game, truthfully, is to break up the Vacation Alliance. Like
Absolutely.
if you as long as you have, it's not even about if any of those people will look out for you because like chances are no, well, not chances, we know that none of those people are like directly coming for Rachel. She's been losing, like your team has lost every time you've gone in and you haven't really
Hmm.
been voted in much,
Hmm.
right? Nobody's taking shots at you, you're just losing. Um but the issue is that all of those people have at least one or two other women ahead of you in the game. So,
Yes.
like, your best bet of actually working with those people and having leverage in those relationships is to get rid of their other close alliances. And I think she
Hmm.
made the right move here. I
I
think
think she absolutely did.
I think
Yes.
she thought about the other thing. I think she thought about like genuinely throwing Ryan and Laurel in because she doesn't like Laurel. But like
Mhm.
honestly, you're throwing Ryan in to go home. That's a man that's never gonna say your name. That's a man that's never gonna throw a target on your back, right? Unless like there's absolutely no other choices.
Yeah.
So why
And
would
he
you?
isn't like an inherent, not, sorry, Ryan. He isn't like a general inherent threat, right? Because for me, it was like a numbers thing in the Vacation Alliance situation. Because no matter who wins or who loses in the Vacation Alliance, you're getting rid of two strong competitors,
Yeah,
right? And with the Laurel and Ryan situation, like, yeah, like Laurel and Ryan might lose, but then you're really only getting rid of one really strong competitor. And like
yeah.
you said, you're
Well,
getting
no,
rid of somebody who
that's what she.
really would
That's what
support
she.
you.
So she wasn't thinking about the Ryan side. She was definitely thinking, I can get Laurel in against Tori, and Tori can send Laurel home, and then I can pray Ryan doesn't lose to Devin.
Yeah.
But I actually think the more dangerous players were Devin and Casey. So like I was hoping that Devin and Casey would go home. So one of the other reasons, if I was in Rachel's
Devin and Casey
position,
do go home, right? Yes.
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 One of the other reasons that I was hoping that Rachel would throw in Kylan and Casey is because Ryan really doesn't have a shot at beating Devin in much. Like, no
No.
shade. Like, Devin probably wins a lot more and a lot more convincingly against Ryan than Kylan. Kylan was like the best shot to get. Like, I think the most dangerous person that was up, actually, out of all four of those people to Rachel's game was Devin. and it was in her best
Hmm.
interest to make sure that Devin went home. Like, I know she was thinking about it from the women's side because she was like, we're probably going to an individual game soon. Which women do I want to compete against? But like, I think the most dangerous person to her game out of that, like, none of those girls were going to come for her. None of them were ever going to call her out directly to like go into elimination. They weren't coming for her. Like, and like,
No.
as weak as Casey's argument for saving her was, actually, the truth is Casey had so many other people that she would have gone for or against way before Rachel, right? Even though they never had
Yes.
a conversation. So I think the most dangerous person to to Rachel's game, immediately, who had the social capital, who has the political savvy and awareness, and who could get power for himself or get next to power in the next coming challenges,
Mm.
was Devin, and Devin had no loyalty, no like
No.
nothing for Rachel, and other than that, he literally has like four other women like that he would protect before Rachel anyway.
In
Like
any way, yes. I just didn't, I don't, well, no, let me be honest. It's probably because Devin wasn't a part of the cut very much at the beginning. But I don't know. I'm like endeared toward Devin a little bit now. I'm not unhappy that he went home. I think I was kind of tired of the
Devin
Michelle
is
Devin
Devin is
storyline, but
fun. He's become a little maniacal in his later seasons, but Devin is always he's always a good edit on the show, honestly. He's funny, he's charming,
yeah.
he's charismatic, he's a great confessionalist. But he has become like annoying to me in the last few
That's
seasons.
fair. I can
Annoying.
definitely see that. I'm just like tired of the Michelle Devon storyline. And
Me
so I
too.
was like, oh, send one of them home,
Send
please.
both of them. She can go meet him in the Philippines next week for all I care.
That's exactly. I was like, sorry, Michelle, please have a medical emergency because I don't want to hear about this anymore. I
Medical
don't
emergency is
care.
wild.
It doesn't have to be bad, just something like a really bad stomach bug. Just leave me alone. I don't
Go
want to hear
home. Go
more.
home, Michelle.
There's one
I
point in
actually
time.
think
Go
Michelle's
ahead.
about to get exposed soon because she's not a good individual competitor. So I
She
can't wait for
says
that.
that.
Yeah, I
She
mean, she
says
didn't
at
need
the
to. She
end.
didn't need to say it. I would have said it anyway.
Well, for somebody like me who doesn't know anything about anything, I was like, yes, girl, you are a bad individual. Like this is a team
She's
was
not bad. She's a really really good social player. I just think she is better insulated in a team. She can
yeah.
hide better.
That's what she said. She said like oh, like something about insulate. And I was just like, yes, because like who are you? And then oh my gosh, I know we kind of like skipped over Chambers, but um when Ave no, when it was Aviv who was just like, like hiding, basically being like, oh, like I don't think anything's gonna happen. And then immediately the target that was like Aviv. I was like, oh no, my little teeny tiny queen, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So what else
Is Avery
happened?
who went home with
Oh,
Tony?
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Avery was in last week, wasn't she? She went home.
Yeah, but she was in a stalemate with Tony,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Mhm.
yes.
So I do want to talk about after we come back from um, bottoms out when Rachel goes and she holds everybody. Things Arrow 3 and Arrow 4 started looking at Josh a little funny. What'd you think about that?
I this is gonna sound very tinfoil hat, but I feel like Bananas is like sending out this general aura of like Josh is not that great. Like I don't know how to like explain it, but I think that by
Today? In this
no,
episode?
no, no. I think that by saving Bananas, like when Josh did,
Yeah.
Bananas not really doing, and I hate saying Bananas. That man needs
Johnny, you can call him Johnny.
thank you. And by Johnny like literally not lifting a single finger, right, to like be thankful in any sort of way. Now I have to say bananas because Johnny sounds weird. Um, I think that that left Josh exposed to these other critiques.
So
Does
I
that make
think
sense?
I think this would have happened. This happens like once per season with Josh from somebody. Josh is a
That's why his
really
hairline's failing.
Josh is a really, really good social player. But the way he plays his social game gets real messy sometimes because he also he like
That's valid.
outwardly defines his game as a game about loyalty to his friends and loyalty to his alliances. But when
Hmm.
you're somebody who has a lot of relationships, there you're gonna at some point make a bunch of people feel like they're aligned with you strategically, even though really all you really care for from them is that they're good conversationalists, like in the house or whatever, right?
Valid.
So what happens a lot of the time is you have a ton of people looking out for Josh, a ton of people who are like, I'm not going to say Josh's name because we have a relationship, we have a bond, we're working together. And
Mm-hmm.
Josh is going, I only have a strategic relationship with these three people.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna talk to all of y'all, like, and it is what it is. And he does have a really good social game. But his social game gets really messy, gets really muddied because he is also like a very emotional player. So he will do something like save Johnny Bananas from elimination when his era has an expressed alliance with Era 3.
Yes.
So I
And
like I
absolutely scream at Corey last week despite being completely in the wrong.
Well, and that's the thing. So today, which I don't know why they expected, like, this wasn't on Josh. Rachel's decision wasn't because Josh convince her to make another decision.
No.
Y'all don't have a relationship with Rachel. Y'all have spent the entire game ignoring Rachel, and you want her to make a move that is like definitely not in her best interest. Like
Yes.
to put her best male ally in danger, to possibly save the two of you for what? And y'all like haven't done anything for her once in the game for the opportunity that you may save her at some point in the future. It's not in her best interest for her to save
No.
the Vacation Alliance
Also,
here.
Casey did a shit job of defending her position to Rachel.
Casey doesn't have a political game. Casey's game is entirely social. She's a really good athlete, I will say. Like she matches up really really well against most of the women in the game on all the seasons that she's played. And usually she's saved because she's such a threat in an elimination that the other women don't want to go against her. So she's
Yeah.
insulated in that way, and then she's typically insulated through her relationships in the game. Casey's not a good political player. Like I don't like Casey, like not even just on Casey, Tori, Devin, um, Kylan less so, but even Kylan, none of you played this game well enough to be asking a favor like that from Rachel. And I don't even think that like any of them should come back. Whoever would have came back, I don't think any of them should have even come back with Rachel as like an enemy now that needs to be dealt with. She
No.
didn't owe you anything. You haven't done anything for her. Maybe you don't save
No.
her, like you don't go out of your way to save her, but like y'all can still, anybody who comes back, I feel like could still work with her in the future
Yeah.
because this wasn't like a real thing. I did like Josh coming in being questioned though, because it happens like once a season where Josh's allies have to hold a console and just go, Josh, where's your head at, bro? Like, are you
But
still
that
with
makes
us?
me think, like, why are we surprised every time then?
I don't know. I mean,
I,
they're all like friends, right? And
yeah.
you know, you get blinded by those relationships, I guess.
I secretly love Josh, even though at some point in times
I've
he
been
has.
liking Josh a lot this season. Like the thing that I hated about Josh was like historically was how loud and just like animated he was in previous seasons while also
Mhm.
being like terrible. Like Josh is like terrible at all of the physical aspects of the game. Like he sucks at challenges, he sucks at the elimination rounds. He's only won one elimination in his whole challenge career, and even the one he won, he was still the joke of the elimination. Like the edit even went out of its way to like shit on him a little bit. Like they
He
showed him
hasn't been in the sand at all yet.
he hasn't been. He won't be. And that's the thing though. Like he doesn't he typically goes in once per season and he goes home. Anytime he touches the sand, he goes home except for that one time where he went in twice in that season and went home on the second time. Um
My
and
boy
he beat a
Josh.
guy who only did one challenge and hasn't been back since.
Something about Josh, something about Rachel. Oh, I the news to me that Rachel is Josh's like trainer was
Mhm.
honestly it was just like very cute. I was kind of like this sounds mean, but I was kind of like, have we made any progress?
Oh,
But
he's made
then
a lot of progress.
okay. Okay.
Like if you I'll show you seasons of the challenge prior. This is the best shape that he's been in like his whole challenge career
I love
for
that for
sure.
him. I love that.
What else was I gonna say? Yeah, no, good job for Rachel. Great day for Rachel.
Great day for
Um,
Rach.
the elimination round. So this elimination was called um Cable Connection Showdown, I believe.
Oh, I
um,
just wrote chords.
in which the players had to untangle bundles of cords and then plug them into these corresponding outlets on the motherboard. So if
Yeah.
they plugged in all of the cords to the correct outlet, they could hit a button and then all 40 challenge logos would light up. If they didn't,
Hmm.
they'd have to figure out which ones were wrong and go back and do it. Really creative challenge. I think it's a really good way to do I think it was like lights out or light it up challenge that we did from Vendettas where Devin sent bananas home. But it's an innovative way to like do that as well too, and to incorporate the logos on like season 40. I thought it was really good.
I thought that was really cute. And then Kai is who goes first, the woman or the man?
The men, Kylan and Devin, compete first.
Oh my God, because what was going on with Devin?
To be honest, I was in and out of this. Like I kind of missed the whole segment. I didn't see either of them working on their second podiums. Like I kind of missed that. And then all of a sudden, Kylan only needed two more. um,
Wait.
I think Devin thought that the strategy was to just be methodical, and it didn't work. Like
No,
I don't know that before going into this that like there would be a better strategy. Like I would think so. Like you want to be careful and make sure that everything is done right. And I don't think he did anything wrong. I think he had the wrong strategy. He had you really only had
this is really,
choices: fast and furious, or slow and methodical. He chose slow and methodical, and that just
and
wasn't
it
the
did
correct choice.
not work in my King Devin's favor.
But I think it was a reasonable choice, though. That's why I'm not gonna like shit on him too hard. I think it's a reasonable
No,
choice to be like, hey, I want to be careful and make sure I get everything right. Why he didn't switch gears once Kylan kind of started building a lead, I think that's on him.
I do. And I think it's not like everybody in the audience was being quiet. Everyone was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, yeah.
And Devin was just like, "Oh, la di da di da." I was like, and even at the end, I, obviously I don't know this man, but he didn't seem that upset about going home. He was just kind of like, "You want to lose them?" I was like, "Oh my God, this man is really in love. He does not care anymore. He just wants to be here for Michelle." It's like, go
um,
off, Devin.
I thought Kylan looked good. Kylan's like I said, I think I said in the last one, Kylan has had a lot of unrealized potential. I think for the first time in this season,
Yeah.
and probably for a long time in the challenge, I'm starting to see like why that reputation makes sense on him. He looked really he was dominant in this here. He stayed calm. He had the
He figured
perfect
out the pattern too.
Yeah, he
Oh
had the
my
perfect
God.
plan. He also figured out the logic of the motherboard as well too,
Yes.
instead of just kind of doing a guess too. Which
Yes.
I don't know how
He,
like impressive that part is.
well, I mean, I think it was helpful. And well, I mean, Devin was very behind, so maybe not really time wise, but I think it would have been helpful if it was actually like close.
Mhm.
Because he was like, "Oh, it's like two for each," or whatever he said. And then he like figured it out. It just didn't really matter because Devin wasn't gonna catch up with him at that point in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Dominant
unless Devin got
performance.
it like completely right on the first try, which obviously he did not.
All right. The ladies.
The ladies, Tori and Casey,
Mhm.
um, uh,
Much closer match.
much
Much
closer, very
more of a
close.
biter.
Yes, they because I watched on the DVR and then fast forward through the commercials. I remember very distinctly that like we hear the buttons click at two different times, like in the edit, and I was like, "Ooh!" And then they like immediately cut to commercial, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And so then I like had to like fast forward. I thought Casey got it. I was like, "Oh, I think Casey got this," and then she did not have it.
It
Um,
looked like when they were running, it looked like Tori was ahead on the run, but I didn't really I didn't pay attention to the screen to see which like lights came up first. But to me,
mhm,
like Tori was already like at the half like the podium between the board and the buzzer and the
mhm.
button. And when Casey started running, but Tori wasn't running, she was like jogging. So I was like,
Yeah,
oh, this is one of those things where they show us Tori like jogging slowly, and then like Casey just breaks into a sprint, but like Tori still wins it because she was so far ahead. So I just
yeah.
assumed she was ahead and she was gonna win. Um, to me, it seemed like from the edit that she won. I was ready to throw the conspiracy hat on and be like, wait a minute, because I know that y'all do like. I mean, Tori is much more entertaining on the show. I think Tori is more of a challenge darling to the producers, to the production team,
I see
um,
that.
than
I mean,
Casey is,
for
and probably to the
episodes and
fans.
episodes this season, Casey says literally almost nothing.
Casey never says anything though. Like, like
And
this is
oh,
pretty
that's what I
typical of
forgot.
Casey's edit.
Was with Josh crying in confessional, I just they don't mention this at all, but I just thought it was really interesting because last week when Josh and Corey are going at each other and yelling and hooting and hollering, Casey is just standing in the back doing absolutely nothing. And so when Josh was like, I love her, like she's so important to me, she's so
This
key to me being happy as a person, I was like, the same person who like would not crack
I
open
think
a lip.
this is something that makes sense if you've seen Josh and Casey for like through their entire like challenge
Okay.
careers. Like while there isn't like much shown of their relationship this season, it probably isn't shown because most of the audience is returning and we already know that Josh and Casey are tight.
Yeah.
So this isn't abnormal because we know that Josh and Casey have like a multi-year, like very tight friendship, like have literally like come to blows for each other. Um,
Oh, my little baby.
but I what I thought was like insane is that the edit took time to dunk on him for being emotional because like
Yes.
I thought that was like kind of like so I was like why are the producers going out of their or why are the editors going out of their way
It was
to
giving womp womp. Like
yeah,
they
like
even
they were clowning him for
they
sure.
were so
Maybe because they
clowning.
thought that like it was his maybe that's what they want us to think. They want us to believe like it's his fault that Casey got voted in and thus is going home and then now he's being emotional. Like that's kind of what it seemed like, but I was like I don't it was ineffective to me because I didn't think it was Josh's fault that Casey was going in. I think it was Casey and Kylan's fault. Y'all should have been talking to Rachel all season long.
No, and I just thought I did not think he was being disingenuous. So I was like, why are you editing this like you
Yeah,
think he's lying?
yeah, no, I don't think it was that. I don't think that it was that either. Like we know, like this is like quintessential. Like Josh is very emotional. Like this is like that display is not even like out of character for Josh. I don't understand. I think it's Josh has been well, maybe it's just because I like Josh because I probably would have like laughed at this like a few seasons ago. But Josh has been pretty dislikable like amongst the
Yeah.
fandom and while being like hyper emotional and sucking at the game. So like it like this is like the sort of thing that I would expect a fan to make of the episode. Like I would expect
It was giving fan edit,
I would
absolutely.
expect to see like somebody pulling in clips of Josh like being emotional, and then I would laugh at it because obviously we all hate Josh. But I like Josh this season, so that's just why it wasn't effective for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
If this was like War of the Worlds 2 or something, I would have been laughing. To be honest, I loved the segment of Jordan talking about Tori. I have felt like that about Tori at times too.
Yes.
That she is truly great and could be one of the greatest like female competitors we ever see. I don't, you know, for me personally, I don't know if I really think anybody would top like Evelyn, but it's also because of just like unrealized potential. Like Evelyn went out when she was on top. Like who knows?
Mhm.
You know, for me, it's like if she would have kept coming back. Same thing with Sarah. Like Sarah, Evelyn, you know, although Sarah wasn't quite yet, like Sarah's kind of
Mhm.
in that second tier of like great women. Um, Evelyn went out on top, and so for me, it's kind of hard to believe that like she would have just like fallen off of a cliff.
Yeah.
Um, she probably would have been dominant for a few more years. So it's hard to know where to kind of place Tori, but I think she's like solidly in like the top 15 all time for women. So
Go off, Miss Deal.
yeah,
Um,
and in a short time too. So
I
really
was gonna
good for
ask you,
her.
do we get a reunion special?
We will, yes, and
Okay.
it'll be 2 episodes inexplicably. Um, I hope it's not.
Two episodes of a reunion?
Yeah, and we'll get
Oh
two
my
episodes of a
God.
final too. They love wasting our time here. Like I hate it so bad.
FTV is like, we are not letting go of long seasons no matter what.
I hate it so bad. I'm like the first of all, just make the finals a 2 hour special or like a 1 hour and 30 minute
Every
episode.
episode with commercials is an hour and 30
Like
minutes.
just make it like just make the finals like a 2 hour special. Like let us watch it all at once. And like honestly, Loki, y'all can put that reunion online. like
MTV said, not on my
the
watch.
reunions haven't
You're
been
gonna
good
get
for
these Jersey Shore commercials.
the reunions haven't been good for a while. They always do have a good host. I love it when Nessa hosts the reunions, or Maria. But you know they've had like Victor Cruz host it before. Like it's They usually get good people to host the reunions. That's not the problem. The problem is just that these people are annoying, and like dealing with them like in 2 hour long segments is like also like annoying. Targets.
Oh, yes. Okay, so we kind of oh, that's not the right word for that. Alluded. We kind of like alluded to this a little bit last week where TJ like kind of started to like be a little bit weird, which I was reliably told by you means something is coming. And so when we went to pick targets this week, we were told that no, actually, in order, we were told that we were devolving into an individual game, but you were still carrying the flag of your era. At least I think I'm getting this right.
Mhm.
And then we were told that we're still having targets, but now you don't have to pick a um certain number. Now you can pick whoever you want for
Mhm.
um
You
even
get
if it's like
you
all in
get
the same
3 picks
era.
instead of 4.
Oh yes, and then you get three picks instead of four. And so Kate or not Casey, Tori and Kyland got to pick three people each. Um, and then they like I think well, no, because it's girls pick men, right? So or bad, women pick men. So Tori picks who does Tori pick? Bananas,
Correct. Derek Chavez,
Derek C, and
Ryan, his sister. So
his
she picked
she
all from
picked
Era
everybody
2.
in Arrow too.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Yes, she did. She did. And then Kylan picks Jenny from his
Mhm.
own era.
Mhm.
Aviv, because they very purposely included that part where Aviv was like, I'm not gonna get picked.
She's like, I just
and
have to
then
be like more liked than 3 other women. And I was like, girl, you think this
and
is about
then she got
likability?
yeah, and then she got snatched up. And then Laurel? No, no,
Rachel.
because Rach. Oh, wait, that's right. Yes.
Mhm.
What do you think about the targets and the as you know everything about the challenge? What do you think about the breakdown into individuals and the fact that we still get targets, but it can be whoever you want?
I'm disappointed at the individuals. I'll be honest. I wish we gotten to see this out in team, or even just like pairs. Like I'm like it was a it was a novel concept to have like a singular winner. On was it Vendettas when Kara won? Was it Vendettas? Maybe who knows. It
I
was
certainly
like
do.
it was a novel concept, but like I really what I really like about the challenge is like the team aspect. I want large team competitions. We've done pairs like incessantly for the last couple of years. I want large team competitions with voting that makes sense. Like forget tribunals, forget troikas and all this other like nonsense. Though everybody goes, everybody gets a vote. You go in, you place your vote, and you
Like
know that
Survivor style?
sort of.
Okay.
So like the winners are safe or whatever.
Hmm.
The losing team maybe elects one person to go in, and then the
Hmm.
winning team choose another person from the losing team to go in, or they choose somebody from their own team to go. I don't care. Like, just bring back
Hmm.
some of the OG like formatting.
Hmm.
Just because I'm getting tired of this. Like, I know we used to complain about those formats as well too, but this has gotten stale. Like, let's bring back some. I don't want to see like an individual challenge. I don't want to see, or honestly, to be honest with you, if this ends up being like a top three, that would be the most welcomed sort of
Hmm.
individual challenge, like a top 3 men, top 3 women
Do
winning
you
thing.
think to me like there's part of this that I'm like unable to like factor in, so I'm interested in your opinion,
Yeah,
which is like why is it important that you're still carrying your flag for your era, like your proverbial flag for your
because we've
era?
named the season battle of the eras, I guess. So
Okay.
we're gonna see which era has the most people left. Um, but again, I hope even that factors in a more meaningful way as well too.
Hmm.
Hard to imagine how with era one being down to one player anyway, and that player has a target on their back tomorrow
Yeah.
anyway. I mean next week. So yeah, I just
I wonder how the targets are going to work now in the daily. Because up until this point, we've had people be
it's
like, we got to do this to protect this person and not. But like, is everyone
it,
just going to be like,
it's
going for
winner.
the targets?
Yeah, yeah, that's probably what it's going to be. Or if you are somebody who's good with the targets, maybe you protect them because you know they're not going to send
Mhm.
you in anyway. So probably targets win and get to choose who goes in. The
Mhm.
losing, that's probably it. Like the losing two
Oh
targets
yeah.
go in,
Yeah.
win or and get to choose who go in, or lose and be immediately up for elimination.
Oh.
We'll have to see. I'm actually I'm not sure about how
I'm
the rest of this is
excited.
gonna
I
work.
mean, I know you're not excited because you wanted a team competition, but I actually was interested to see like what
I'm
an individual would look like in this
I'm
concept. So
excited about the jerseys, and I am
yeah.
excited to see um, the some of the competitions that I saw. I think it looks like one of those competitions looked like the prime sort of like arena that you would choose for like a mini finals, like the sand
Mm,
dunes that they had.
mm.
And you see everybody kind of all running through at once, so it doesn't look like it's being played in rounds. That's perfect for like a little mini finals just to test and see where everybody's at. But
Yeah, the speeding truck with the ball thingies that you have to hit when the powder
yeah, the
explode.
targets.
That looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I feel like that would be something I would actually do.
Hmm.
Not competitively, because that would freak me out, but for fun, yes.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
is that it?
Winners and losers. We forgot last week
Oh,
about too.
yes. Oh dear God, I feel like we didn't do that last time.
We didn't.
Um, ooh, winner, winner Rachel, obviously.
I agree.
Um,
I agree for sure.
and then loser, Michelle. Michelle for reasons that can be explained.
Michelle trying to G check Josh about not saying the right thing to Rachel. Girl, sit down. Sit down, because some people had you crying at the reunion last year. Let me stop. Loser for me is Casey.
Oh, I mean, literally, yes.
Girl, you tried it and you went home. Like, see ya. See
And you
you.
were a
Hopefully, we don't see
mime
you
for
for
the
a long
first seven
time.
episodes or eight
You were a
episodes.
mime for the first 7 seasons of your career. No, she's only done like 4 seasons.
Yes.
Um, but that's
Is your
it.
winner also Rachel?
My winner is also Rachel. Yeah, Rachel crushed. She played this perfectly.
Mhm.
She had the correct reasoning for how she was voting, and she 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 won the daily, which I
Mhm.
thought was impossible. I did not think that was gonna happen. And yeah, she did her thing.
Honorable mention to um Theo absolutely falling out of the bottom of that
Nehemiah. I thought you were
chair.
gonna say honorable mention to
Oh,
Nehemiah for actually doing something good.
no, I was gonna say
your your
honorable
obsession
mention to
with Theo
Theo.
needs to be studied. Like,
I love him. I've decided I love him now. I love him so much. He's so important to me. He's so tall, but that's beside the point.
he is very tall. Um, all
Yes.
right. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Please check our channel for the rest of our coverage on the Challenge 40, as well as our Love is Blind. By the time you see this, we should be caught up on episodes of that too, so you can watch our full season as we get ready for the weddings and then the reunion special, which I suspect will be very entertaining this year.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
All right. Thank you. See you always. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Bye.
Thanks.